Good morning and welcome to our Friday live stream, which is a Q&A live stream. But today we're going to have a little discussion, just a short discussion about something very important. Community. I'm Bill Deese, professional voiceover talent and voiceover coach, voiceover demo producer. I sit in this 3.5 by 5 foot booth. I have been doing this for 17 years, recording for, my gosh, I don't know. You name a company, I've probably recorded for them multiple times. I've recorded over 10,000 projects. But I like to share thoughts, tips, strategies, just something to help you along the way to help you make more money in voiceover. Ultimately, if voiceover is a business, it's about being profitable in that business. So that's the goal. That's the mission of this YouTube channel, which contains over 1,200 videos now, all free content. So you can dive in and learn at your leisure. And of course, there's a deeper dive into all of this, which is called the Voiceover Blueprint. And there's a link to, and description to all of that in the a link in the description below. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Well, Friday is traditionally a Q&A, and that's what we're going to do today. So if you have a question regarding voiceover, throw it up in the live chat, and I'll get to as many as I can. I usually can't get to all of them. I wish we could just hang out all morning and do it. It would be a lot of fun. But fortunately, I mean, I am a working voiceover talent. I'm not just a coach. As a matter of fact, I am a working full-time voiceover talent. So by the time we're done, there's usually projects waiting for me to get to. Yesterday was a very busy day. Started off slow, but you never know. Excuse me. Excuse me. Started off with like 3 pickups. Hold on just a second. I do all my vocal warming up with you guys. Sorry that you get the bad end of the stick on that deal. Um, started off with a couple, I think 3 pickups yesterday, and by the time I was done, I had a very, very, very profitable day. The jobs just kept rolling in, which is good. You know, some days it's like that, some days it's slower, but if you do all the right work, it all equals out to something pretty significant over week after week, month after month, year after year. So I want to talk about community just for just a moment. I was reminded of the importance of community last night. My wife and I went to we live in the Chicagoland area, but we don't live in the city. We live about an hour outside, a little less than an hour outside of the loop, in a little village. And our little village had its like the lighting of the Christmas tree. It's like the official opening of the holiday, kind of in the little village square. And our granddaughter was singing 3 of the public schools, not public, I mean, there was a private school and a couple public schools, had representative students there to sing Christmas carols, and they threw the switch on, and then the trees were supposed to light up, which, of course, just like in a Christmas movie, they didn't. Somebody had to go to the breaker box and fix it, and Santa rode in on the big fire truck, and it was cool. But while I was there, it was cool to just there's comfort in just knowing there are people that you know and love there in the crowd. And not just family, but just people I know. I ran into an old friend that decades ago we used to jam, play guitars together. Long time ago. I can't go anywhere. As a matter of fact, it's been so interesting since we've moved back from Cincinnati. When we lived in Cincinnati for 2.5 years, and by the way, I love Cincinnati, great city. But we didn't run into one person that we knew accidentally, like in a grocery store, like when we went to Kroger or when we went to the bank. We just never saw anybody we knew. Here, we can't go anyplace without running into somebody we know. And we were always running into people. Some people, there was somebody, I'm trying to remember, I remember they said, "I haven't seen you in years." That was like yesterday or the day before, but just constantly. I mean, seriously, no matter where we go, we're always running into people. And I used to take that for granted, and I think the older I get, the more I realize how important that is. Just having people in your life, even if you haven't seen them for a while, that you know that you have some connection with and they care what happens. And it's important in your life, but it's also important in your work, and I think especially in voiceover because it's a lone ranger kind of job. As I mentioned earlier, I'm sitting alone in a 3.5 by 5 foot booth. This is what I do all day. Most of you guys, whether you're doing it on a part-time or a full-time basis, you do it alone. Whether you're in a bedroom closet, a spare room in your house, a corner of your apartment, wherever, you're sitting there by yourself, and having some sort of community is great. The problem with community, especially as you go online, is you don't know what you're gonna get. I mean, it's, well, you guys know, the horror stories and the negativity and and the mudslinging and the scare tactics and all the craziness that goes on out there. And if you're looking for a really good community to be a part of, I want to invite you to be a part of the VoiceOver Blueprint community. These are people who have a singular focus on they're there to build a voiceover business, but they also support and help each other along the way. That's just one component of a very comprehensive coaching, training, mentoring program. And so again, the link is below in the description. Community. I mean, we take it for granted, but then there comes a time, like for when we moved away, it was like we didn't have that. I remember Vicky was the one who really mentioned it first. She noticed it. She said, "You know what? Every time I go to the grocery store, I used to always see somebody I know." But she goes, "I've never seen anybody I've known." And for 2.5 years, it was that way. And when you kind of go through that kind of a desert experience, it's always so reassuring to get reconnected, to be around people, even if you're not really close, just people you know, people maybe you've known from years ago for one reason or another. And in voiceover, you need that kind of support. You need that kind of encouragement. You need that kind of community feedback. So again, check the link in below in the description. Check it out. All right, let's see what's going on this morning. Hey, Ron, good morning. We've got Corey in Wisconsin. Hello, Julie in Hummelstown, Pennsylvania. Andrew in Calgary. Bob in Reedsville, North Carolina. Denise in Long Island. Dave in the Big Apple. We've got Aaron in Como. Let's see here. Rusty in the UP of Michigan. Aaron says, good morning from sunny Umatilla, Florida. Okay, here's a question. Aaron asks, if multiple agents bring me into their roster, for example, in Atlanta, should I consider moving? Do agents find you more work if you live close to them? Let me answer the last question first. No. Typically, no. No. I've had up to like 15 agents at a time. They were all over the world. It doesn't matter. I would never, ever, ever move for an agent. Unless, and I'll get to the unless in just a second, but let me just, most of you have heard me say this before. The very first agent that signed me like 16 years ago, I've still never booked a job from them. Less than 2% of my income comes through agencies. So it's the hardest way to get work in voiceover. I would never, ever, I would not hold my breath for a job with an agent. I certainly wouldn't move for an agent unless they came to me with a job and said, you know what? Disney has a $1 million contract for you to do this, but it's contingent upon you moving to Orlando, Florida. In that case, I would seriously consider it. Other than that, no, not at all. You don't need to. Nowadays, you just don't need to. Location is irrelevant for the most part. Maybe if you live in Los Angeles, that's a little bit of a different story, but even there, you don't have to work the traditional, agent relationship thing. Hey, Dean, what's going on in Lake Eleanor, California? About after 4.5 months, I finally got my first paid job as a voice actor. Yes. Oh, that deserves more than a clap. That deserves a ring of the bell. Dean, this is reserved for people who get their first job. That's fantastic. And I get a lot of people come to me after 2 or 3 weeks and say, man, it's just not working. It's not working. Well, yeah, it's been 2 or 3 weeks. It takes 3 or 4 months to get traction. Doesn't mean you won't get a job. You can get a job. Some people get jobs like in their first week, but but it doesn't always work that way. You've got to look at like a 90-day plan to really, after 90 days, then you may want to start asking questions, but there's a lot of work to do, a lot of seed to be sown. And it takes a while for those to sprout and come to fruition. And, we've got Dean here who's done it. And now you got that first job. And Dean, I can tell you this, from here on out, what's felt difficult will get easier and easier for you. And congratulations. Hey, Rob, good morning from the sunny San Francisco Bay Area. Sorry I've been MIA the past couple of weeks. I've been catching the replays when I have time. Hey, Rob, no worries. Good to have you back. Hope things are going well for you. And glad it is sunny today in San Francisco. It's been raining. It started raining here last night, and it has not stopped. I guess it could be worse. It could be snow. Of course, that's relative. For me, my wife would be thrilled. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, we've got snow to shovel. Melissa is in San Diego. Good morning. GS, what's up? Julie, how are you doing? Ready for the weekend? Yes. Greg in Asheville, North Carolina. Chris, good morning to you in Lakeville, Minnesota. Roxanne in California, Danielle in Fort Wayne, Amy in Altoona, Sandra in Dallas-Fort Worth, Dale in Atlanta, Brian, what's up in Tucson, John in Rhinebeck, how are you? Mark in, let's see, Estes Park, Colorado, Bill from Boise, Idaho. Theo says, good morning to Bill and all from the totally empty Metro train car. Theo, does nobody work in downtown Chicago on Fridays? Every Friday, it seems like you're saying, there's nobody here. Friday rain equals everybody is staying home today. I think last time it was because it was the holiday. And I guess now people have more options about staying home. COVID really changed the whole work dynamic. Enjoy your lonely day in Chicago today. Actually, I would prefer to go into Chicago when nobody's there. I would enjoy that much more than dealing with all the crowds. But that's just me. According to my wife, I'm no fun in that way. And she's right, I'm not. Scotty, hello, good morning to you in Brookings, South Dakota. Roxanne, which switch on the mic works for voiceover? Well, first, I don't know. My mic doesn't have a switch. I don't know what the switch on your mic is, 0 dB or -20. Well, okay, what we have to under that, yeah, there's a pad. So if you're getting too much gain, you can flip that switch to -20 and it'll pull the audio back -20 dB if it's too loud going into it. So, and I'm not really, without being able to see your microphone, I won't bother to go into a technical description, because I probably wouldn't be of much help, I'm sorry to say. Hey, Amanda, new trial blue. Whoa, why are people calling me while I'm streaming? I don't know. There we go. Let me just turn off my phone, guys. Usually I do this when I do sessions. I should probably do this when I do YouTube too. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so let's see here. Amanda is in the blueprint, new blueprint. Yes, Amanda. Welcome. Awesome. You're gonna love it. Good morning to Keith in Renton, Washington. Amy says, I've been fighting bronchitis for 2.5 weeks. My voice really sounds bad. What you do when faced with these issues? Well, I mean, it's hard to fight bronchitis. And I'm usually an annual sufferer of bronchitis. And what I found, a couple of things. Number one, if it's too bad to work, you just don't work. You can always do marketing, or whatever you feel like doing, but if you have no voice, you can't talk. I mean, there's nothing you do about that, but you can market. So there's always something you can do. The other thing is that most clients, and I deal with this with my students in the voiceover blueprint program all the time. I get asked this question. And I tell them, my clients, usually what I'll do is I'll send some test audio to them and say, here's what I sound like today. You tell me whether you want me to record. 9 times out of 10, they say, oh yeah, you sound fine. Most people hear us differently than we hear ourselves. And I guarantee you it's more exaggerated to you than it is to them. I'm not saying they won't say wait. They may, but it won't sound as bad to them as it does to you. Phil in Tokyo, hard to catch these live classes when they are 11:30 p.m. Phil, I tell you, you are a trooper, joining us from Tokyo. I love it. He says, but I look forward to each one that I can learn from. Thank you, Phil. And thanks for staying up. I appreciate that. Good morning from Save or Suave Island, Oregon. I know, JL, I know you've told me this multiple times, and I apologize. But welcome. I do have a rather burning question. What is the airspeed velocity of a laden swallow? I thought everybody knew that. Really? Seriously, you have to ask me that? They didn't teach you that in 3rd grade? I mean, it's so simple. I'm insulted you would ask. I'm not even gonna bother answering that this morning. Oh my gosh. So let's see here. The live chat's moving on me. Let me back it up just a minute. We've got Florence in South Carolina, Wayne in Washington, JR in Austin, Texas. Happy Friday to you. Hey, John. Good morning to you. JL with a question, is the swallow carrying a coconut? Because if it is, that changes the math completely. And then what size of coconut? What type of coconut? How old is the coconut? Because that determines how much milk is in the coconut, right? So you got all that stuff to factor in. Good question, JL. Tina, top of the morning to you. I just joined the blueprint. Tina, welcome. Welcome. Rob, who's having breakfast right now, Bob Evans. Rob, don't be watching this. You need to spend some quality time there with your son, eating crispy bacon at Bob Evans. Theo says, I could rhapsodize about communities in my life and their importance. Suffice it to say that you're 100% right about community. Bill and I agree. The VO Blueprint is a great community to be a part of. And Theo, I'm glad you're a part of it. Thanks for sharing that. We've got Gene in Dallas Fort Worth. Good morning, Terry in Fallston, Maryland. A sense of community is always good. Yes. Tanya, hello from South Philly. Anthony, good morning from Phoenix. Do you have more success with cold calls or cold emails? Okay, here's the way that works. You will get more, generally speaking, you'll get more success per phone call that you make as opposed to per email. The hard part is it's hard to get out as many phone calls as it is as emails. And plus, with email, you can email people who are in other time zones, halfway around the world. Doesn't matter if they're sleeping or not. So while I've done both, email is my preferred because I can do a higher volume on a regular basis. But you know, if you can do the phone calls and you've got the time to do that, that's fantastic. And you will see better results per phone call than you will per email. It's just you have to factor in how many can you do. Where am I? Let's see here. Denise. Good morning, Rocky. Hello to you from Rocky Top, Tennessee. I love East Tennessee. I know I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's one of my favorite places on all the earth. My mom grew up in Knoxville, so we spent a lot of time down there around the Smoky Mountains when I was a kid. Rochelle in Kansas City. Good morning. Oh, I'm not going to get into microphone questions this morning. That's a whole thing. Yeah, that's a whole thing. I use a Neumann TLM 103. It's $1,000, $1,200 mic. Wouldn't recommend it if you're just getting started. Um, you never really have to have one that expensive. When you're using an MXL, you could get, I mean, it depends on what your budget is. You could get another MXL, Marshall MXL mic, in the $100 to $130 range, and I'm sure it will work just fine. Although you could get into a Rode mic, a Blue mic. I mean, we could go, it just depends on how much you want to spend. I will say this. There's a great microphone that I used for decades back in my broadcast days. I say decades as if it was like 5 decades. It was 2 decades. And it was a, EV Electro Voice RE20. Now, it doesn't have the dynamic range of a large condenser like this, but what it does do, it's very quiet. It doesn't pick up a lot of the extra room noise. A lot of people are very successful using like a Shure SM7B or an RE20, which are similarly made. So something to consider there. And that's like the $400 range. Okay, I said I wasn't gonna talk about mics, and I did. I got sucked in. We all get sucked into it. It's almost impossible not to. You bring up the topic of microphones and people go bananas. Everybody's got something to say about it. I guess myself included, apparently. Mike, good morning to you in rainy Spanish Fort, Alabama. Sasha, hello to you in Germany. You've got a cold Novio today, Sasha. So sorry. Hope you feel well soon. Have a nice, relaxing weekend. Ty, good morning to you in wet Warsaw, Indiana. Theo says, I definitely love the days with fewer people around, Bill. I'm with you. Yeah, it's like, why fight crowds if you don't have to? I mean, I guess some people are energized by that. Not so much me. Let's see here. Good morning from Linden, California. It's Steve, the cherry capital of the world. Yet I drink Michigan cherry coffee. Why does Linden not have California cherry coffee? Or do they? Maybe I'm missing out on something. Let me know. Rusty, any tips on helping make enough money with the freelance sites to be able to afford a pro demo? I visit the sites every day, and it's taking a long time to get the money for the demo to start marketing. Well, I mean, we could go hours on this. It depends on what platform you're talking about, and then there's a lot that goes along with each one. I will say this: you have to have a great deal of patience when it comes to think of these platforms or any way that you market yourself as a marketing channel. It's a potential revenue stream. Don't think of it as the sole way of making money. Think of it as one way of hopefully what will become 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ways of making money. But you have to learn, whether it's Upwork has its own way of doing things. If you're on Voice Bunny, it's got its own way of doing things. Fiverr has its own way of doing things. I've been on Fiverr for several years. I just booked a job on there yesterday. Um, and I do and it's I make from Fiverr between 10 and $20,000 a year. But that's one stream for me. And will I ever make more? I don't know, but there's only so much that I've done everything I can do. You've got to make sure you have great demos. Okay, here's what you need to do. Make sure you got great demos. Make sure you're using all the right keywords. I cannot overemphasize the importance of your demos. The quality of your audio has to be pristine. A lot of you guys aren't getting work because your audio sucks and you don't even know it. So you need to get that. You need to have that reviewed. You need to get a diagnostic checkup. Your audio has to be good. Your demos have to be good. Your bio with keywords, all that has to be done properly. If you're on Fiverr, you need a great gig picture. It's like a book cover. If the cover's no good, nobody's even going to take the time to listen. So unless all of those things are done well, it just doesn't work at all. So as you can see, we could go into a whole thing. And when you're in the voiceover blueprint, there's my daughter Mallory, who's very successful with voiceover on Fiverr. She makes six figures on Fiverr alone. She does a weekly. I'm sorry, it's every other week. She does a webinar, a coaching session where she helps people out with all of that. But it takes some time and certainly knowledge. Roxanne says ACX had been giving me a noise floor and audio tracks. How do I adjust it now? Well, you lower the noise floor by making your space quieter. You have to get more isolated. It might mean another microphone, like I said earlier, like an RE20 or something that's quieter. It might be that. Um, I'm not sure how ACX these days on using audio plugins, but as a last resort, there are some great audio plugins that can help reduce that noise floor. But I'm pretty sure ACX would want that to be the first, line of defense, because you want that to be as transparent as possible. Hey, Sandra, good morning to you in Worthington, Ohio. My voice is still bad from bronchitis. Yeah, again, Sandra, your clients or prospective clients aren't going to notice it to the degree you have. Even when I've had bronchitis, I've missed very few days of voiceover, even when I thought it sounded pretty crappy to me because my client said, "Oh, it sounds fine." So there you go. Who knew? Hey, Sean in Hayden, Idaho. Just got done brushing off some fresh snow from the car. Oh, yeah, man. One of my favorite things, he said sarcastically. But I've got the ice scraper in my car. I've already used it, and I'm ready for action. Hey, Rob, it definitely takes some time, and this is coming from a Blueprint member, by the way. Rob says it definitely takes some time to get traction. Even if all you get is positive feedback, I've been at it for over 6 months with little traction. Just got to keep at it. Eventually, it'll hit. Yeah, and what's funny is when it hits, usually it hits. It starts to pick up steam. A lot of that is simply because you have confidence. It's silly. It's like if you work in sales, they'll tell you the best time to make a sale is when? Right after you've made a sale. Why? Because you have confidence. It's like you don't have that scared deer in the headlights look in your eyeballs anymore. It's like, "Oh, okay, I can do this. I've got something worth saying and selling." And once you gain that confidence alone translates into your auditions and the way you communicate with people, and it makes you more attractive to people. I mean, that's a whole other video right there. I need to make a note of that. Scotty says your YouTube videos must be getting popular because ads keep popping up, which previously were annoying, but now I'm wondering, how do I get that job or contract? Oh, let's see here. Good morning, Raj. How you doing in Vancouver? Bob, good morning. Marie in Texas, how are you doing? With my delicious passion fruit tea. That sound delicious. Hey, Claire, how are you doing? Happy TGIF. Disappointed we didn't get snow last night in Prescott, Arizona. Yeah, I mean, if you live in Arizona, you probably do look forward to getting a little snow now and then. I totally get that. Let's see here. Marie is interested in motion capture. Looking forward to continuing my learning from your channel. Awesome. Thank you, Marie. Hey, Ty, the community from the Blueprint is second to none. Thank you, Ty. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Happy Friday. Thanks for being a part of this YouTube channel community. I appreciate that. And it means a lot to me that you're here. And if you're ready to take a deeper dive into the voiceover world with people who are committed to building a profitable business, check out the links in the description. Get all the information. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Monday morning.